Women are very entitled and self-centered. I've noticed women don't accept rejection very well.
I have known many women in their 60s, 70s, 80s who are childless, and a few of them regret not having children.
Single is going to be the relationship status of 45% of all women in 20.
The projection proves to be coming true every single day. Many women are looking for a man.
By the year 2030, nearly half of U.S. women aged 25 to 44 are predicted to be single and childless.
It's so interesting with women. They want equality until the check comes.
If anyone out there was on the fence about marrying me or...
This is happening because of two things: entitlement and unrealistic expectations. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
The most frustrating thing about men is the fact that they refuse to acknowledge when they are being flirted with. You'll go, "You're so handsome," and they just go... They look so confused to the point where you're like, they obviously want nothing to do with me. That's okay. Won't do that again. Later you find out they liked you the whole time, so... What?
Parties are not for me. I need to be at home with a cock in my mouth. Like, I cannot do this. This is too much. I'm not with the ratchets. I'm not with the hood shit. I'm a princess. Like...
That's enough!
I heard a stat today that has really just got my wheels spinning. Have you guys heard that by the year 2030, nearly half of U.S. women aged 25 to 44 are predicted to be single and childless? They're saying 45%, which is the largest percentage in history, up from 41% in 2018. Morgan Stanley actually published this study dubbed The Rise of the She Economy to analyze the demographic shift and to measure its impact on the economy. Basically, they used the study to tell investors how market demands were going to change and where they should be investing their money based on the spending habits of single women. Here's the interesting part. This shift is already shaping current consumer trends.
Invest in box wine, right? And invest in cat toys.
Well, gentlemen, you know what to do with your money. By the way, this is not financial advice, but let's be real. The way the dating scene is going, I see exactly why 45% of women will be single by 2030. With unrealistic expectations, entitlement, and a refusal to meet men halfway, they're pushing away the very relationships they claim to want. And of course, we have these women who always claim they're single by choice. But let's be honest, most of them didn't choose to be single. The market chose for them. Now, instead of admitting the truth, they rebrand their singleness as empowerment, as if constantly complaining about men online is some badge of honor. By 2030, the regret will be real, the therapy bills will be piling up, and the single by choice narrative, that'll be nothing more than a coping mechanism for the consequences of their own actions. This is the reality that modern women will have to face.
Can someone nice and wonderful just come around and wife me up? Because I can't do another talking stage. Like, I just can't. If I have to ask another person, how'd you sleep last night? I don't care how you slept. I'm worried about my own sleeping patterns.
50% of women will be single by the year 2030, and having been single most of my life, I think we'll do just fine. I am curious where we're at with dinner party invitations, cat ownership, and the talk track we're all going to give the really conservative Republican men.
Where are the good men at?
Good men at? Well, a lot of them. They're lost in the where to find the good women. They don't know where to look because there's so many women that are promoting cheating. There's so many women that are bashing men. There's so many women that are destroying men in court, that the good men that are out there that truly want to date and find that soulmate, they don't know who they can trust. They don't know where to turn. They don't know where the good women are. So they're just kind of lost, and they're keeping to themselves because they want to know, where are the good women? So if you're one of these good women, let us know here in the comments. Tell us a little bit about you, because these good men, they need good women.
It's just better to stay single these days. A lot less hassle and stress. Many are in women's friend zone where women keep them, while continuing their train wreck after train wreck relationships. That is right. I'm not looking. Yes, it gets lonely, but it's not worth it anymore. I know there are some good women out there, but let's be real. The women who are usually chanting and asking for where all the good men have gone are the same ones who ignored them in the first place. You have to understand that. That's the first thing a woman does when she's finally ready to settle down and build a family. It's a pattern that's repeated itself many times. And that's just a fact. Good women are usually laid back. They don't really be on social media. It's truly sad that dating has come to this, but the reality is men are not dealing with that anymore. They've learned from past mistakes. They've seen too many stories of men who gave their all only to be disrespected and abandoned. So when 2030 arrives and nearly half of women find themselves single, it won't be because men disappeared. It'll be because men woke up. They saw the game for what it was and decided they weren't going to play it anymore.
Single women are already spending a significant amount of money on things like travel, tech, dining out, personal development. Might not sound like much, but it gets even bigger. By the year 2030, women are expected to control much of the $30 trillion in assets the baby boomers currently have. That's a massive economic influence, reshaping industries. While Wall Street and economists are analyzing this information to tell businesses and investors where they should be investing their money, you should be thinking about how you should shift, if you haven't already, your branding strategy to target this growing demographic.
A lot of women like to claim that they are single by choice in order to avoid taking accountability for their poor relationship choices. I mean, because just think about it. Put the ideal man in front of any heterosexual woman. You think she's going to choose to be by herself? No. No, they're not. And don't let them lie to you and say that they would. But a man like that has not come into their lives yet because they don't qualify. Instead of her just admitting that she might be the problem, she'd rather just be like, I'm single by choice.
I agree.
No, you're single because you've run out of options. Or at least good options. She might be overly masculine. She might be emotionally manipulative. Probably doesn't know how to take accountability and makes the entire relationship about her. Which are all characteristics that good men tend to steer clear of. And if she does happen to stumble across somebody who's willing to put up with it, it's probably a man who ain't worth it. And instead of her doing some self-reflection and being like, you know what, I probably should change, she would rather be like, I'm single by choice because men ain't shit.
Well, that's one thing we know that's never gonna happen. Women admitting that they're the problem. Most of them would rather point their fingers at men and blame them instead. It's always, men are intimidated by my success. Men don't know how to handle a strong woman, or men just don't want to commit. But the truth is, a lot of these women made choices that led them to where they are now. And instead of taking accountability, they'd rather shift the blame. This whole single by choice thing, it's just a coping mechanism. The reality is, most of these women don't qualify for the top men they're after, and they know it. They spent years rejecting the average hard-working men who would have been loyal to them, thinking they could hold out for a high-value man. But those top men, the ones who are successful, disciplined, and have options, aren't choosing them. They have mastered the skill of taking no accountability and just blame men for everything, even their poor choices.
Why are older men staying single? Older men have already been through a lot. They've had a lot of relationships. They've seen the ups and downs. They've made some mistakes in their relationships and they don't want to repeat them. They're not willing to settle for anything less than the real deal. Older men tend to have higher standards, and rightfully so. They've lived life and they know exactly what they want. They've got careers, their own routine. They're just not willing to fill that slot with someone that doesn't align with their life anymore. The older that they get, they realize that time is so precious, and they want to spend it with somebody that truly complements their life. Not only that, but men who have been through life and been divorced, they know how to take care of everything. They know how to cook, clean, work, pay the bills. They do it their way. The thought of bringing someone new into that situation is a huge ask. It's not about being closed off, it's about being selective. These men have worked extremely hard for their happiness, peace, and freedom, and they're not willing to give that up for any woman that's not worth it. Older men aren't staying single because they don't want a relationship. It's because they're not willing to settle for anything less than a real connection. And they don't want someone that's just going to walk into their life and bring drama and chaos. So if you're a man in your 40s, 50s, or 60s and you're single, good for you. Waiting for the right person to come along is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And I mean, I don't need to tell you that. I'm sure you're fully aware.
I was married 2 times and I lost everything. I just lost everything. Time and money. Bingo. 60 and single. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm at peace. I'm single because I paid so much in this life, and I want just peace in my soul and enjoy the silence. The women that date older men are looking for a retirement plan. Stay single and cold, gentlemen. Stay cold. I think many older men are staying single because they're tired of the lies and manipulation. Most of them have already been through divorce, lost half of what they worked for, and they don't want to go through that nightmare again. They've seen firsthand how modern relationships can turn into a financial and emotional disaster, where years of loyalty and sacrifice can be undone with a signature on divorce papers. These men aren't bitter, they're just smart. They've learned their lesson. They know that no matter how much they invest in a relationship, the risks are stacked against them. And let's be honest, many of these older men are seeing how modern women operate, and they want no part of it. They see younger women bragging about rosters of men, treating relationships like a game, and constantly talking about what they deserve without bringing anything to the table. They're watching as modern dating gets worse, with entitlement at an all-time high and genuine connection at an all-time low.
Single is going to be the relationship status of 45% of all women in 2030. We are running out of time, and single is a valid relationship. I chose to say single, and I was determined to find self-love. Along the way, I discovered that cruising is self-care. There are very few resources available for women who are unapologetically choosing themselves.
By 2030, we'll be non-married, no kids, single.
Go back and watch the full thing. But this makes me so cross. I have known many women in their 60s, 70s, 80s who are childless, and a few of them regret not having children because they wanted to have children and were unable to have them, but would admit that they went on to have very satisfying lives despite the lack of children. It didn't ruin their lives. And I know so many that chose not to have children or get married or be partnered in any way. And do you know what? They were some of the happiest old ladies I've ever known.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That may be true for a very low percentage of older women. Maybe a handful of them are actually content being single. But let's be real, the rest of these women are on antidepressant pills because they're single, lonely, and miserable. The stats don't lie. Women are more depressed than ever. Therapy visits are through the roof, and the pharmaceutical industry is making billions off antidepressants and anxiety meds. Why? Because modern women were sold a lie. They were told they didn't need a man, that marriage was oppressive, and that focusing on themselves would lead to happiness. But now, in their 40s and 50s, they're waking up alone in an empty apartment with nothing but a career and a bottle of wine to keep them company. By 2030, when nearly half of women are single, this problem is only going to get worse. More therapy, more medications, and more regret. But at that point, what can they do? Blame men some more?
I'm not built for casual, flings, situationships, or, even just, hoe faces. I don't have another talking stage in me. I don't know how people do it. I don't know why it's fun. I don't know why people think it's, enjoyable. But if I break up with my boyfriend, I do not have another talking stage in me. It's gonna be, do you want to marry me or not? Because I cannot go through the whole hoe phase. I can't go through the whole anything. I'm not built like that. I'm built to love somebody, love them hard, and then be in a relationship. But then at the same time, I don't want to be in a relationship if it's going to waste my time. I'm not built to be talking to people like that. If you're not dating to marry, what's the point of it? But if I have to go through another hoe phase or a talking stage, I would unalive myself. I'm not built for it. I'm not built for the casual hookups and stuff. So I like never do it. But like, the heck? Like what fun comes out of a talking / hoe phase? Like someone please help me understand. Like no offense. Like I'm not judging the people who do it often, but like.
Women are very entitled and self-centered. I've noticed women don't accept rejection very well. And this is largely because most women walk through life without ever being told, no, you can't have that. No, you can't do that. Like women are very used to being allowed to do kind of whatever they want with little contest, with little repercussions. And so I always find it so telling whenever a woman rushes to the conclusion that when a man rejects her, he must be gay or something must be wrong with him. A lot of women believe that they are inherently desirable to all men. If you are a woman and you are at least easy on the eyes, just minimally, then there's no reason why you should not be able to have whatever man you want, because women also gatekeep access to sex. I think that convinces a lot of women that they are automatically desirable to every guy. So much so that when they meet a guy who does not want them or does not find them desirable, they're perplexed. They're kind of like, what? How? They actually take offense at it. Like they're physically upset at the idea that a man would reject. That's entitlement. And then that's when you start to get the whole beautiful mind wall, trying to decipher what's going on inside of his head. He's not really picking up on my subtle cues. He's rejected me. I told him I liked him and he's not into me, and maybe he's gay, maybe it's. And because women cannot accept rejection, they can't accept being told no. This is where you get some women who will quite literally make it their mission to destroy a man's life. Accusations start to come out against him. He's gay, or he assaulted me, or the like. Women like this are developmentally stunted. They have not actually matured past adolescence. They're still stuck at that phase of development, like where toddlers believe that everything is theirs. That's like some of these women are stuck at that phase in their mental development. It's very strange because you'd expect adults to age out of this kind of behavior, but no, many women are still basically toddlers in the brain. Food for thought.
I agree. Wow, this is just amazing. And yes, this is absolutely true. We have so many women out here who think everything should be about them. They expect to be chased, pampered, and prioritized. But the moment a man sets boundaries or doesn't entertain their entitlement, they get mad or start insulting him. It's like they genuinely can't handle rejection, even though men have had to deal with it their entire lives. And let's be real, many of these women are emotionally stuck in that adolescent phase. Just like that woman said, they were never taught how to deal with disappointment or self-reflection, because society always told them they were special just for existing. They were fed this idea that they deserve a top-tier man just because they're women, without ever considering what they actually bring to the table. So when reality hits, when men they want aren't interested, or worse, when they get rejected outright, they lash out instead of looking inward. You see it all the time. Women calling men broke or insecure just because they weren't interested, as if a man must be financially struggling or intimidated by them if he doesn't want to date them.